Hello everyone, welcome back to Voice Essentials. It has been a number of weeks since we've been together and so I've been looking forward to hanging out with you all. I do apologise for the last couple of weeks. I have been rather unwell. Some flu or sickness or something just sideswiped me. A couple of weeks ago, I spent all 2 weeks about a week in bed, literally, like as in, you know, that's a saying, but I actually literally was in bed and just quite unwell. I am on the mend. I'm not 100% yet, it must be said. I'm sort of slowly but surely getting myself back into things. You may even hear in my voice what's referred to as my fundamental pitch is a little bit lower than usual. As many of you know, my fundamental pitch, my spoken pitch, is typically quite high for a guy, but nonetheless it is a little bit lower. It's not as low as it was. I was, for a good week, I was baritone verging on Barry White bass. I was very low, but anyway, I'm on the mend and starting to feel a lot better. We as a result of my vocal health today, we'll keep we won't go too long in our live hangout today. I've got a great subject line up for us to discuss, but just so I don't overexert the voice and that I look after my voice, as I encourage us all to do here at Voice Essentials, we won't go too long because, of course, when we do these live hangouts, I've got to talk non-stop for sometimes up to an hour, so I'll try to, I'm going to curtail that a little bit today. I hope you're all well and in good health. I hope for those of you who practice the Christian faith, I hope the Easter period of time was a good one, a reflective one for you. If not, if you simply enjoy a holiday, then I hope you had a safe and restful one. And happy Mother's Day for some of you still today. Happy Mother's Day to those of you who are mothers, and a happy Mother's Day to your mums. We all have mums, so happy birthday, happy birthday, happy Mother's Day to all of you who have been celebrating that. It is a good thing to acknowledge our mothers, and we had a really great day here with Jody yesterday. For those of you who don't know, Jody is my wife, the mother of my 3 children, and so it was good to spend some time with her. Look, I hope over the last few weeks you've been in good voice, and you know, as you know, I recently, a couple of months ago now, it feels like a couple of months ago, we released the Voice Essentials program, and for those of you who don't know, it's the link that's sort of scrolling along the bottom here, voiceessentials.com.au. But in the lead up to that, in getting that all ready, my reading, my personal reading about voice had dropped off a little bit, and so in the last few weeks I'm trying to sort of get back into that discipline of reading, because obviously, when it comes to teaching, there's a lot of giving out of oneself, and so one of the ways I help to manage that is I have a good inflow of information, and one of the best ways that I have found for me is the inflow of information, to take in new inspiration and new information, is to read. And recently I started reading this book. This is called Complete Vocal Fitness, A Singer's Guide to Physical Training, Anatomy and Biomechanics by Claudia Friedlander. And I am loving this book. I've put a link in an affiliate link down in the description section below if you'd like to get your own copy. Now, I do need to, straight off the cuff, let you know I've only just started this book. Now can you see? Oh, come on, Daniel. Can you see where my bookmark is? My bookmark's just about there. So I don't know if that. Can you see where I'm up to? So I'm only nearly a third of the way through the book. So it is important that I state that from the outset, that I haven't read the whole complete text. That being said, the reviews that I've seen of this book are very good. and are in keeping with what I've read thus far. I am really enjoying this book. Now, this actually comes at things from a classical standpoint. So it is for opera singers and classical singers, though I've got to say, I'm finding it very, very readily applicable to what we as contemporary singers do, and the subject matter that we're going to cover off on today is going to apply very easily to us as contemporary singers, because I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about alignment, stamina, and stabilization. In fact, you can see those headings. Can I get that in there? You can see those headings. This is in the introduction. So I'm actually using these three headings that she's listed, that Claudia has listed in the intro for us to sort of bounce off and discuss today, because I just found it quite inspirational, and I'm just resonating so strongly with the approach of this. We've talked here so often about task-specific training for your voice, and ensuring that what you are doing in the way you're developing and training your voice is in keeping with the task that you are doing. Let me just quickly read you in fact, I've got three different quotes that we're going to quickly discuss in our conversation today. By the way, can you make sure you put your questions in the I always do that. I always go the wrong way. It's there. Make sure you're listing your questions in the chat section for Linda to take note of. Now, we may not get to, in fact, I know we almost certainly won't get to all of your questions and providing some answers today. And even if we don't get to any of them, because my voice is starting to give out, we will do a Q&A in 2 weeks. Now, in 1 week, next week, massive guest coming onto the show. A lady by the name of Melissa Cross. Arguably, there would be 2 leading international experts on the heavier vocals known as distorted vocals used in metal, screamo, death, thrash, these sorts of vocals, the heavier vocal styles. There are 2 leading voices in this space, and one of them is Melissa Cross. She has a really well-known approach to this called Zen of Scream. Melissa is our guest next week on the show live. Seriously, you have got to come to next week's show. It is going to be really exciting. I'm going to be fanboying a little bit because this lady is just so well known in the world of vocals, especially in the heavier vocals. So make sure you tune in next week. But the week after that, I'm going to dedicate the show to a Q&A. So any questions that you do, write this way, Daniel, write in your in the chat section. We will be certain to get to those in a fortnight's time. Okay, so just make sure you write your questions down so that we can answer them, whether today or in a couple of weeks. We'll get to them. Okay, so have a listen to this quote that Claudia has written. Have a listen to this. Sport-specific training refers to exercise regimes designed to help athletes achieve peak performance. Let me read that again. Sport-specific training refers to exercise regimes designed to help athletes achieve peak performance. I think we could almost change that a little, couldn't we? To so that it was singing. So task-specific. Let me. I'm going to change it now so that it sort of zones in on us as singers. Task-specific training refers to exercise regimes designed to help singers achieve peak performance. And that's what it's all about. As we're talking today, it's all about enabling your voice to achieve peak performance. And you know, it's one thing to go for a jog. It's another thing to go for that same jog, but under the watchful eye of an exercise physiologist or a running coach who really knows what to look for in your gait and the way you're using your body, and to achieve not only faster run times, but more efficient run times. Peak performance is what this is all about. And the three topics that we're going to talk about today, alignment, stamina, and stabilization, are three key pillars that certainly Claudia has has nominated as being key attributes to the development of excellent task-specific exercise regimes, and things that we need to be conscious of when developing great vocal technique. So without further ado, let's have a quick look here, if we can, at the first. This is under the term alignment. So Claudia has written, good alignment is essential for vocal development and performance. The spine provides the foundation from which all movement originates, and a well-aligned spine facilitates free laryngeal movement, full resonance, and expansive coordinated breathing. It facilitates well-aligned spine facilitates number one, free laryngeal movement. So important. Yeah? Full resonance. We all want better tone. And expansive coordinated breathing. And in fact, breathing Claudia doesn't list breathing as a fourth pillar. In fact, it's kind of the foundation on which these three pillars stand, and she goes into it further in the book. But I cannot stress to you how important good alignment is. You know, to have great alignment is so important. In fact, the first thing I actually work on with any singer is their alignment. And you can see why I probably really resonated with this book, because it's very affirming. I'm finding this text very affirming to my own pedagogy, because the first thing that I need a singer's body to do is to embody the instrument. And the only way you can do that is to have it well aligned. And I wonder whether the reason why I am very cognizant of this, not only in my own voice and in my own body, but also in the body of my students, is because I first started as a guitarist. And the thing I know about the guitar is, you know, if your neck, the guitar neck, that is, the fretboard that goes up to the head, is malaligned, misaligned, then you get a buzz in the string, because the strings will be hitting the fretboard, and that will then leave you with a distortion of the sound. You won't get the clarity of tone that you need. Also, if there's a real distortion between the level of the strings to the fretboard, the guitarist, in fact my guitar is a great example of this, it's called the action. So you've got the string here and you've got the guitar here, the fretboard. In fact, let me quickly grab the guitar. I'm coming back. So here's my guitar, my trusty old axe. Now I wonder if you can see, I'm going to try and get it up there. See the level of the string to the fretboard. Now when I have to push down, you can see me pushing. I don't know whether you can see me push. Oh, that might be better. I'm pushing down onto the fretboard. That's called the action. Yeah? The amount of space between there and there on my guitar, I often refer to it as, you know, you could drive a bus under the action of my guitar. What does that mean? Well, for me, the guitarist, it means I have to work a lot harder in my fingers, and as a result my fingers get quite sore at the end of playing My Old Girl, and and it because I'm having to work, the action's very high. A really high quality guitar, the action is significantly less than what we just saw on my guitar. And so as a result, me, the guitarist, I don't have to work as hard. That all comes back to the alignment of the instrument, the alignment of the neck. And it's so important that your alignment, and you know, not only your neck, but your neck is an important part of, because that's where your larynx is sitting. It is so important that we get good alignment into your sound, because it's going to give us free laryngeal movement, it's going to give us full resonance, and it's going to give us an expansive, coordinated breathing. Here's the second comment that she makes over the second pillar, stamina. The better your stamina, the better you'll be able to access the best of your technique, regardless of the staging challenges your director creates for you, and the more options you will have for pacing and sustaining phrases and cadenzas. Now this is where we kind of get an insight here into the fact that Claudia is writing to the classical singer, because she's sort of referring there to more, you know, opera staging. But I tell you what, contemporary vocalists, we spend a lot of our time jumping all around a stage, yeah, and you know, you've only got to watch a Beyonce to see a contemporary vocalist jumping energetically all around a stage. But nonetheless, when you're in performance, you'll be moving and you'll be, you know, presenting and really developing that. And so stamina, I'm in a bit of a habit of saying to new students, you know, it's one thing, especially when we start looking at things like twang, and we talk about twang, the three words that define twang is a clear, focused resonance. And that's great. Twang does give us those three things. But more importantly, the thing that twang gives us is efficiency. And it's, you know, developing twang into your voice is more about efficiency. Better efficiency helps to improve your stamina. And so another key attribute of good stamina is, again, the way you're using your breath, and then that comes back full circle to how you're using twang in this particular instance. So, you know, stamina is so important also, and I'd be encouraging all of you to be thinking about what are my repair rates? How long can I go before my voice starts to give out? Am I, like so often we see on TV talent shows, you know, a voice will be completely spent at the end of 90 seconds. They haven't even sung a full song and the voice is starting to give out. You know, or are you getting to the end of 3 songs and your voice is starting to give out? What is your stamina point? You know, where can you identify, okay, I'm getting, you know, I can go 3 sets and I'm good. But then if I had to back up again tomorrow night, I might be in trouble. So it's learning what is the stamina, and it must be said, what is the stamina required for what type of singing you are needing to do. And it is horses for courses. It's important to also acknowledge that different morphologies, different bodies will cope, will be able to run longer distances than others. And it's important to learn what is your instrument, your body capable of. What is your stamina? Everyone's stamina can be improved. That doesn't mean we can all have the same level of stamina. It just simply means we can all improve on our own stamina. And so going about our own journey with that is important. And the third thing is stabilization. And stabilization refers to, and I'm just reading here, stabilization refers to the ability to maintain dynamic stillness in one area of the body to provide a platform of support while generating movement and force in another. Vocal athletes require stability to accomplish 2 distinct but related tasks. There it is again, breath management and stage movement. And so your stabilization interacts back on your stamina and alignment. You know, if you think of the 3 points of a triangle, then we know that all 3 points are connected. I'm not creating a very good triangle, am I? But you get the point. See what I did there? 3 points, you can't have 1 point without the other. Yeah, with a triangle, if you don't have this point here, all you've got is a line, right? To have a triangle, you've got to have 3 points. And they are all interactive and reliant on each other. Stabilization is so important. I'm just bringing back up the quote for myself so I can read it again. Well, that's the point I wanted to make around this is, excuse me, let me bring this back up. Stabilization refers to the ability to maintain dynamic stillness in one area of the body to provide a platform of support while generating movement and force in another. You know, it is about creating dynamic stillness in one area of the body to provide a platform of support while generating movement and force in another. I'm in the habit of saying with my students so often, hey, what most people, when they walk into my studio for the first time, they bring with them what I would refer to as a codependent vocal system. You know, if one domino falls, the rest of the dominoes fall. If my tongue wants to pull back, or more to the point, if I want to get, if a new student wants to get shape and lift in the back of the throat with the soft palate, often the tongue will want to pull back, the larynx will depress, there'll suddenly be a forced of air, and that's these dominoes falling one after the other. What we need to develop is a stable system that is able to work as a independently coordinated system, so that just because we get good shape at the back of the throat, that doesn't need to determine that then all these other dominoes fall. I can keep my tongue forward. The tongue doesn't have to respond to other things happening. And so it's learning to then isolate these different tasks. And this is what a good practice of vocal exercise will do. It isolates these activities. It allows you to zone in on the specific attributes that are technically required. This is in part why just singing songs will not help your voice to develop in a manner that is going to really develop robust technique. You do need to pull out these individual domino bits and work on those aspects individually, because just singing songs, you don't, for the most part, you can't really be thinking about these isolated aspects of your technique. So it's really important that you do that, and of course it would be remiss of me to not mention the Voice Essentials online course will help you to do that if you're interested in signing up. Hey, and let us know in the comments section. I know a lot of you have been signing up to the course, and can I say thank you to everyone that's been giving me the feedback in the Facebook group, in the reviews section of the course. I've been a little flattered actually as to how much benefit you've all been getting out of the course, and I'm really tickled. Nearly 200 people have signed up to the course now, which is really exciting, and it's good to know that you're getting so much out of it. So there you go, alignment, stamina, stabilization. Can I, again, I haven't read the whole book, okay? But very rarely does a book start out as good as this one has. I'm about, like I said, about a third of the way through. Very rarely does a book, start out as well as it does and then not finish as well as I'm expecting it to. So I really encourage you to perhaps get your own copy and have a read of it and see what you think. I'm certainly really enjoying it. I am going to go to one or two questions because can you hear my voice starting to just labour a little, and that is as my vocal folds start to retain a bit of fluid to kind of cushion the activity of my phonation. I can feel my voice just starting to labour a little. So we want to be careful with my voice. I'm going to go to Owen, and this is a, let me jump across to, oh, I'll just stay here. Owen has asked, hi Dan, what kinds of exercises help and what don't with eliminating vocal tension? Owen, I would direct you to having a look. There's a number of videos on my channel about vocal tension. In fact, the most recent video that I did, which was nearly 2 weeks ago that I released, a pre-record video I'm referring to, I actually look at, I used the cry voice quality, which is from the Still method. I used some exercises to help release vocal tension, and so you might want to have a look at that. As far as what don't, here's an interesting point. I mentioned that we've got Melissa coming on next week, and in fact, she wants to give me her take on some vocal exercises around heavier vocal modes for distorted voice, because for any of you that have participated in those genres, you will know that vocal tension, constriction, is an ever-present issue. And so, Owen, maybe if you can chime in next week, 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Monday, you'll get to hear the master. I mean, this lady, she's been doing it a long time. She really knows what she's talking about. Himal, I hope I'm correctly pronouncing your name. How do you fix a wobble? By this I mean I have a slow vibrato. It's not fast. I'm 18 years old. I have a high voice. Himal, I think I would need to see your voice in action. And of course, I don't do reviews on this channel, and in fact, I've actually just written the script on the review thing on the whole vocal coach reaction video, and I'm kind of giving a disclaimer. I've done a whole video on explaining why I don't do vocal reaction videos, but equally also don't do review videos, Hamal. So as far as fixing a wobble, there could be a whole range of things. That could be tension. It could be a lack of breath flow consistency. And again, I think I would have to see, your voice in action. This is PKS Ferdinand. Why in accent method breathing, consciously maintaining the ribs open is not encouraged, and teachers even say it may be counterproductive? I'm not, and I've always, whenever I've talked about accent method, I've always been very clear, I am not a certified accent method trainer. So I'm not going to answer from that point of view because it's not my certification. But certainly maintaining the ribs in an opened, in fact, I know that Claudia, in the recent chapter that I was reading on breathing from her, she does talk about the maintenance of the engagement of the intercostal muscles, helping to keep the rib cage in a open position, if I'm remembering correctly. And she certainly advocates for it, but she also advocates, and this is in a video I did very recently also, she also advocates for the fact that there is no one size fits all when it comes to breath. The latest research bears this out. And accent breath method, breathing method, certainly has its definite pluses, and I use it, the ideals that accent teaches here in my studio. But I also, alongside that, use some of the excellent things found in Apogeo. And so I kind of use a hybrid of both. As far as thinking about the idea of if we were to go to the extreme end, the opposite pendulum, where we just collapse our rib cage, look, that's not going to be of any benefit either. It comes back to our very first point today, and that is talking about alignment. Certainly if you go to some areas of teaching, they'll have this sort of lifted, sort of broad, what is a very classical, sort of classic opera sort of position, and without sort of casting aspersions, I don't teach that level of lift, but I certainly teach a level of alignment that is going to activate the upper torso in such a manner as to not have it collapsed. I hope that's a roundabout way of talking you through that. I am going to stop now, everyone, because my voice is starting to bother me some, and I've got another 2 lessons to teach this afternoon. But I didn't want to miss today because it has been so many weeks since we've spent time together, and I was just so keen to hang out with you all, and I hope you found looking at this. I think I'm going to be referencing this a bit more because I'm really enjoying everything that Claudia is saying and challenging me to think about. And I've even thought, what would be fun is we might even try to find out. I don't even know. I've never met Claudia, so I don't even know where in the world she is. But we might even try in time to seek her out and maybe bring her onto the program. Because as you know, I do my best to bring on some really great guests here at the show. And I've got some really good guests coming up. As you know, next week, Melissa Cross, come on, you got to come along to next week's show. It is going to be a absolute stunning time with her, and I know you'll get a lot out of it, and some real key insights into someone that's been working in the heavier vocals for such a long time. So I hope you can join us Australian Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. next week. Hey, if you've enjoyed today's discussion, give the video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the white bell icon, because that way you'll always be notified when I am going live, and you won't miss one of our live shows. And oh, by the way, we've got a pre-record video coming out this week, this Wednesday. I'm talking about pitch, intonation. If you find your intonation, your singing in tune is requires some work, and hey, who of us doesn't require work in that area, then check out this week's video. We're going to be using minor chords to really develop your intonation, your pitch accuracy, and I think you'll find it really beneficial. So when I see you in that video, I look forward to seeing you then. But as always, until I see you in the next Voice Essentials video, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.